Good day, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening to me. Welcome to another edition of Changing the Mindset. I've always been talking about, despite Africa having abundant natural resources, and the problems are just too much. So, this time around, I'm going to look at an opportunity. Most cases, a lot of people think of the Western countries as a place where they can find opportunity. But trust me, Africa has got all the opportunities that you need to survive and to live on this earth. Now, I'll give you an example. For instance, we live in Africa. Africa, let's look at the western part of Africa. You've got oil. We've got oil. And if that oil that is in the western part of Africa, it can manage to cover the entire continent. If we come to the middle of Africa, the central part of Africa, there's plenty of water. And yet we have so much load shadings. These power cuts are too much, but with plenty of water on the continent, that can be looked at as an opportunity to be able to develop our continent and come off this thing of load shading. And then we look at countries like in the southern part where there are minerals. They've got copper, gold, and to mention just a few. And yet we still are suffering from high levels of poverty and poor services. So what we are looking at is we need to start looking at us as we are placed in an environment where there are opportunities, availability of resources. All we need to start looking at is what is it that we can do to make sure that these opportunities that we have in Africa can become a reality. I don't believe so much. Yes, opportunities could be there in the Western world, but I think we need to start from our home. No one is going to develop Africa except ourselves. I'll always, I've always emphasized this point. I think in most cases, we need to shift in the way we are thinking. A lot of people have only been trained to grow up and become a slave of somebody. It could be in form of employment, it could be in form of working for others, trying to develop others. But then, as Africans, we can also create our own opportunities. One thing for sure, opportunities may not come in as plain as it is. Then we just need to be a little bit wiser. We need wisdom to be able to identify the opportunity. And in most cases, opportunities, they have a form of disguising themselves. They hide themselves. So only those that are smart enough are able to identify the opportunity and be able to utilize every opportunity that comes our way. So I am encouraging you that let's start identifying opportunities within ourselves, within our countries, within our continent. And once we identify those opportunities, we are going to make them a reality. We are going to make sure that these opportunities become a living. Now, so not to discourage people from, say, to think outside, we need to start thinking outside the box. The old ways, yes, they were able to sustain our forefathers and us, but in most cases, these old ways and methods have slowly started diminishing. They cannot sustain us. So let's start finding new opportunities within the African continent, something that we are able to offer as as Africans, and be able to sell it out to the Western world. And because we are smart enough to be able to make proper decisions. I encourage you to look at those things today. Let's think through, let's analyze all situations around. I can give you an example. It's COVID time. There was COVID, but some people thought of having an opportunity. To some people, it created wealthy. They came up with face masks and all that, they still generated income. So in any situation, as long as we are faced with a problem, there's a chance to be able to see an opportunity, and that opportunity can be able to generate us income that we can live and stop this dependence syndrome on the other Western countries or other developed countries. Let's depend on ourselves. Let's start creating opportunities ourselves. No one can do that for African continent. Thank you so much for listening to me. Until we meet again next time.